this evening. Thank you everyone for coming out. Mr. Duff, what do you want?
All right, we're going to start with our Student Advisory Council update. I'm so excited for Evie because she's so excited to be presenting tonight. But more importantly, this is Evie's last time presenting, as Friday will be her official last day of school, which we're super excited about. So Evie, great job this year. Congratulations. I'm so happy for you. I'll put you here and we'll start recording.
On Monday, May 11th, Quaboag held its annual mock crash demonstration. This event serves as an important reminder of the very real and lasting consequences of drinking and driving. Through this emotional and realistic presentation, students were reminded that one poor decision can have a devastating impact. All of the AP exams have been completed. Students successfully completed advanced placement exams across a broad range of college-level subjects, including biology, statistics, literature, composition, world history, U.S. history, art and design, psychology, language and composition, and art history. These courses provide students with valuable opportunities to engage in challenging academic work, strengthening critical thinking and analytical skills, and potentially earn college credit through successful exam performances. The Senior Biomedical Innovations class, Junior Medical Interventions class, along with Mr. Slattery's Science class, has selected groups to go to Boston on May 8th to be part of the Applied Age Showcase Science Fair. The students spent the day in Boston presenting their projects to judges and other students. Seniors held their annual dinner dance at Salem Class Inn on Thursday, May 14th. They are finishing up the last official week of classes and beginning to prepare for their upcoming finals next week. Seniors will walk the elementary school on June 2nd and have their scholarship night on June 3rd. Graduation will take place on Saturday, June 6th at 10 a.m. The junior class is preparing for Junior Prom, which will take place on Saturday, May 23rd in UMass. During Teacher Appreciation Week, the juniors organized a nacho bar for the teachers and staff at Quaboag to show their appreciation for their continued support and dedication to faculty throughout the school year. In addition, students are currently planning the senior barbecue scheduled for June 5th as part of the upcoming end-of-year activities for graduating class. The 10th grade students have been completing their MCAS testing sessions throughout the spring. Students will conclude their testing cycle for both math MCAS sessions scheduled for May 19th and 20th. The 9th grade class will be hosting their annual fireworks show in June. During the event, students will be opening snack shack and selling hot dogs as part of their fundraising efforts. The class is looking forward to a successful and enjoyable community event. The 8th grade students will be taking their science MCAS assessments on Tuesday, May 12th. Teachers and staff have been preparing students to help ensure they are ready in combat after the exam. The Quaboag 21st Century Cooking Club will be hosting a pop-up restaurant on Tuesday, May 20th from 5:30 to 7 p.m. Students in the cooking club have been working hard to plan and prepare a special Italian dinner for guests to enjoy. Community members, families, and staff are invited to attend and support the students' creativity and culinary skills. We look forward to a fun evening of great food and school community engagement. Thank you. Any questions?
Up next, we have our band and theater students to talk about the showcase that they've been on so far. Oh, here you are, Mr. Joy.
Every year we like to come in and give a finance department update and all the exciting things that we've been up to thus far. So, all right. So the first thing I just want to highlight is that we had Legally Blonde was our major production this year. We did it in February. Rehearsals went from the beginning of October through February. And despite the fact that Mother Nature decided to play a few tricks on us, and some of our students are here tonight, we had 48 student actors on stage during this production and 27 crew members working behind the scenes, grades 7 through 12. So there was a huge student involvement of all grades, and I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong, because it was the largest audience we've had so far. And some picture highlights of this stuff, if you would, just to highlight some of these. The of course, the photo credits go to Derek Felice, as always, giving out some of these fantastic photos of our students. So that's our cast photo of all the kids that participated in that. Right after that, we had our middle school production, which really wasn't middle school, but it was grades 7 through 10 that went up the weekend leading up to April vacation, and we rehearsed from February. Basically, when Legally Blonde ended, there's no rest for the weary. We went right into Lion King Jr., and it went up in April. 26 students were on stage, grades 7 through 10. So really giving our sophomores and freshmen some really great opportunities, as well as our middle school kids, to have those opportunities for leading roles. 11 student producers, and I think, yeah, this is pretty much my artistic crew and dancing crew. We gave the opportunity to our juniors and seniors to take the lead. Myself and Christine Taylor, who was my assistant director and costume guru and whatnot, we kind of stepped back and we did basically an advisory to these kids, and they ran the rehearsals. They saw the behind the scenes. They saw what went in behind the scenes. Having to prepare block, prepare choreography, having to deal with all of the things that go behind the scenes that they don't get to experience when they're on stage. So our grades 11 and 12 students, 11 of them picked up those roles, and we had 10 student crew members backstage there, so it was stuff if you would. And again, just some of the photos of some of the students participating in this. They all did a fantastic job, and this is all the students that were involved in that. At the end of April, again, these students are back, as well as our ensemble Quaboag singers. We went and competed at the Music in the Parks for the second year this year. It's a great opportunity to go and get judged by professionals in the field that it's not me. So hearing some things that I might have said in the past, maybe not, but more times than not they've heard it before. But hearing from someone else, it always matters. But both ensembles received an excellent rating. That is basically the equivalent of a silver. Wind Ensemble improved from last year. We got good. And this year we excelled to excellent in Quaboag singers, who meets once a week after school, because that class is not during the schedule, but the dedicated kids that stay once a week after school. They went for the first time. I said, well, let's do it. And they also received an excellent rating. We also received the award for excellence in professionalism and conduct. One school in the day that competes, the host school decides, hey, these people were great to the judges, to the staff. It's no surprise to me that these kids receive that award. Mr. Duff and I say constantly, we have some of the best kids in the state, if not anywhere. And this is certainly a testament to them. And yes, please, yeah, give it up to them, please. So certainly a testament to that. And probably the other big thing is that, well, once we perform in the morning, they get to go play at Six Flags for the day. And they have a great time with that. So if you go to that slide. So this year, the host school was Holyoke High School. They were great. Mark Todd is the band director up there. They're a fantastic host, and the kids had a blast at Six Flags. No, I did not ride any rides. I see what they do. So we're good there. This past Saturday, the Massachusetts Instrumental Choral Conductors Association, they hold a solo ensemble festival. So students can do a solo, duet, trio, whatever. We had 4 students, and I'm going to have Emily and Ann come and join me. They get to go in and they pick a song of their choice. All 4 did a Broadway selection, and they get to go sing for a judge with me accompanying them. So I'm proud to say that these 2, Emily Lashes and Anne Marie Martino, both received a silver medal. It was their first time going out there. Both are juniors, and we'll do it again. You guys can go back. Also, Natalia Feliz-Balzan also received a silver medal. She's a sophomore, so she'll have a couple more opportunities to do it. And Madison Schreier, one of our seniors, she went last year. She got a gold last year, and she missed the perfect score by 2 points, but she again got the gold. Certainly wonderful to see that she repeated her streak of gold medals. So she also got that. Our upcoming events, obviously, April, May, June are not boring for us. Tomorrow evening, right here in this room, we do have our spring concert and senior night. It starts at 6:30. It has concert band, wind ensemble, and chorus. It's also where I have to say goodbye to 20 seniors graduating from the performing arts, which is a huge number, and those kids have all gone above and beyond, so we'll be able to celebrate them tomorrow. They'll receive their plaque from me as well as their graduation honor cord from me tomorrow evening. Our art show, and I meant to fix the time on this, our art show is this coming Thursday. You probably got a little sneak peek in the hallway coming in. Some of the work are from these fantastic in the back as well. That is this coming Thursday, May 21st, in conjunction with our QRMHS showcase. Should be 6:30 to 8, and that's going to be all around here. And I'm sure Mr. Diorio probably talk about that later, but that will be this Thursday. Our Warren Memorial Day Parade and our West Brookfield Memorial Day Parade is two very, very important events, and these kids know the value and the importance of participating in these town events. So on Saturday here in Warren, and Monday for West Brookfield, we will be out there and participating in those events. And of course, the class of 2026 graduation ceremony, the band will be participating in that to celebrate our class of 2026 and send them off into the world in style. So these are all of our upcoming things coming up, and I think that's my last slide. And on behalf of my fine arts students and myself, I want to thank you, the school committee, for all the hard work, countless hours that you go through the behind-the-scenes stuff. So thank you for your constant support of these students in the fine arts program. So thank you.
Up next, we have our 21st century student-led innovation in real world learning. This year, or it began last year, our 21st century after school program, which is a grant-funded program. We had an entrepreneur club that started in revamping our school store outside. They had to come up with a business model, present the business model to several members within our community. And then with that business model, they were able to put it into play and then meet with the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. But they're here, William Lopes is here tonight, and Casey and Rob from the 21st Century After School Program Entrepreneur Club.
Our driving question when we started renovating the store was, how can we design and promote a school store that increases community engagement while creating a space for students, staff, and the wider community to shop and showcase school pride and branding? About the store, we started in late 2024 and worked on renovating the store and had our grand opening on June 5th of 2025. It was entirely done and is continued to be operated by the members of the club, and it serves as a student-run business going beyond the basic retail operations. And we also work to design and produce our own merchandise, like tote bags, Cougar logo keychains, athletic shorts, and even baby onesies using our Cricut machine, which is owned by the 21st Century program. And we create products in-house during club hours. And as you can see, these are some of the products we've made ourselves. On the top, there are athletic shorts for girls and boys up there. And there's also keychains and the Hershey's Kiss boxes, which are in the bottom corner over here, which we made for Valentine's Day.
Hi everyone. So these are the students in the club. So the club advisor is Mr. Rico. And then the president is this person over here, Casey Merrill. And then we have Raven Paradise, who is our food manager, who was unfortunately not able to attend this meeting. We have yours truly, William Lopes. We have Isabella Santos, who is our graphic designer and an amazing artist. We have Carl, he's the store manager. We have Caitlin Mel, who's a consultant. who is also the marketing manager.
And these are some of the before pictures of the store. I couldn't get any of when we first started, but these are photos taken after we painted all the walls and cleaned up everything else that was in there. Before this, it was much worse, and yeah, it was much worse. So we had to work very hard to renovate it and make it look all nice, yeah. And video doesn't work, unfortunately, but that was a video of the early stages of painting. Yeah, okay. And in the store, on the front counter, we have artwork done by Isabel Santos. She painted it herself. Looks great.
And so this is our grand opening. It happened June 5th, and the grand opening consisted of a ribbon cutting ceremony with state representatives, parents, and community members in attendance. Our treasurer, again yours truly, delivered a speech, followed by an opportunity to shop and mingle and explore the store. So you can see over here, that's a photo of us cutting the ribbon. That's a photo of Miss Mola showing our certification, and that's a photo of the 2 state representatives who decided to go.
And this is some of our merchandise that's in the store. We have long sleeves, t-shirts, rugby shirts, polos, tote bags that you see down there. We have water bottles, candles, flannel pajamas, cougar plushes, sweatshirts, core zips, among other things.
Okay, and now we're going to get to the food of the school store. So it took a little bit of time to incorporate the snacks, but we finally have snacks there, and this is definitely going to increase our profits. You know kids, right? They want food. When they go home, can I have dinner, please? So this is definitely going to help out. And don't worry, all this is healthy. We're not selling like any drugs to your kid. It's quick, convenient, and nutritious food for both staff and students. So we're going to get more foot traffic, higher sales, and we're going to help improve the community.
Okay, our marketing, we have an Instagram account online that helps to promote products and build the digital marketing skills for the people who market. And the account is QRMHS_school store on Instagram. And what do we do to promote this store? We have an ongoing product development that includes future merchandise, like spring apparel. We also send out emails to parents and students on a regular basis for when there's new products or if there's any sales. The store is open every Thursday after school and even during some lunch blocks for students to come in if they wanted to buy something. We send out student surveys to get an idea of what the student body would want to see in the school store in the future. And we also have posters throughout the school in hallways put up to promote new products. And these are some of the posters that are promoted in hallways.
Okay, and now this is the part I'm sure everyone here is excited to see, the math. So you can see here that the renovations cost around $8,000 to $10,000. We sold over 200 items in the school store. We made like $3,000 in raw revenue, but after factoring how much everything cost, we made roughly $1,600. And so much of the profit we made was due to clothing, specifically hoodies and quarter-zips. So on the next slide, you can see here like a super cool pie graph, and you can see that hoodies made up the bulk of our profit, followed by quarter-zips and gold shirts. And so our revenue is mostly generated through our clothing, creating the bulk of our sale. Our sales pattern is mostly dominated by large spikes during high sale days, but we are transitioning to a whole new world of sales with Cricut products and the introduction of food, which we suspect is going to create weekly profits. Next year, we anticipate thousands of more dollars of profits.
Okay, so our integration of branding with the Cricut, we use the Cricut to design and produce our own merchandise, like the keychains, baby onesies, shorts. And by using the Cricut machine, we intend to apply the method of vertical integration, where we get to control the multiple stages of production of the products, and we can eliminate the middleman, as well as increase our profit margins while keeping the products affordable for people to buy. And our future plans going forward is that we want to continue expanding the school store and continue for it to be a student-run business. So when Will graduates, I'll still be here. When I graduate, it'll be passed down to other people, younger people in the club. And we want to take on increased responsibility in product development, marketing, and financial analysis, as well as operations, while introducing new merchandise and improving our profitability. And our ultimate goal is to sustain and grow the store as a hands-on learning lab for students that supports skill development aligned with our vision of graduate. Thank you, everyone.
So first and foremost, to see where the school store was a year and a half ago to where it is today is night and day. I'd like to thank Madeline Smola. I know the renovation for the store cost between $8,000 and $10,000. That was all grant funded for the 21st Century After School program. The students were given a budget for not only materials, but what they needed to actually renovate the store. They took that budget, they had to go, they had to find the best deals online in order for this to come to life, and the students did a great job, and they did a great job articulating it. Missy Mansfield helped out with the baked snacks that you see when they said that it's healthy snacks. We have Katie Egan, who is our wellness coordinator, and we're going to do a quick reading after of our wellness policy. But Missy is instrumental in working with not just the 21st Century After School program, but the day-to-day operations within our district. So Missy, I have to say we appreciate you and thank you for all that you do to make sure everything around here happens the right way. You've done a great job. In the high school cafeteria, the last month or so, the students pushed for a salad bar, and now on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, they get my money for the school store stuff, and Missy gets my money for the salad bar. Our students now have a salad bar 3 days a week. And it has been so well received. Missy was on the front line overseeing it the other day, and that was great. There was some extra banana peppers that day, so thank you, Missy. So that's it for our student presentations for tonight. But once again, I want to thank all the students that are here tonight. You guys are the heart and soul of this community. When Mr. Joinville says there were 75 kids that were involved in our theater program for Legally Blonde. Every one of those kids played an integral part in that production. One of the best shows that we've had, and I know that we've seen them all, but one of the best shows that we had. Thank you, Jim, for all that you do for our kids. Thank you, kids, for all that you do for our school. You guys are unbelievable. So thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Very welcome to talk for everyone, so great job, the Entrepreneur Club. All right, superintendent's reports.
So I'll start with the West Brookfield Select Board meeting. Last Tuesday, we attended, thank you, Travis, Phil, thank you, and Craig Burgess. We attended the West Brookfield Select Board meeting. We had attended a meeting 3 weeks before the joint committee with the Select Board and the Advisory Board when we went through line-by-line items, or lines, because we knew that the town of West Brookfield obviously is experiencing some financial difficulties. There were some very difficult conversations that happened during that joint meeting with the Advisory Board and the Select Board. We had our school committee meeting last Monday. On Tuesday, we went to the Select Board meeting when the Select Board spoke about the financial difficulties that they're having. And despite all of the cuts that they had already made, they had to make even deeper cuts. Those cuts were reflected in ways of closing the senior center 2 days a week, reducing the library budget, reducing the fire department budget, reducing the police department budget, and reducing the highway department. after they went through all of those line items, they were still $75,000 short of, roughly $75,000 short of having a balanced budget going into town meeting. At that point, I did ask the West Brookfield Select Board what version of the school budget was factored in to all of these cuts, and they said that it was version 3, which was the version to close West Brookfield Elementary School. I also asked if it was the intention of the town to put forward the school committee approved budget, and the answer was no, we can't afford to. So that was directly from that West Brookfield Select Board meeting. I know many people in the room were at that meeting. I feel terrible for the town of West Brookfield for the things that their departments are going through, the things that their citizens are going through. Losing services is such a difficult thing, and I think that we all kind of recognize where we were at in terms of the town of West Brookfield with the cuts that they were doing and how that would have a significant impact on the community. So that was the update from the West Brookfield Select Board meeting last week. On Friday, we did meet with the towns of West Brookfield and Warren. It was a very productive meeting. We were talking about not just this year's budget, but our future year's budget. West Brookfield did say that the budget that they could move forward with was the version 3 budget with the school closure. After that conversation, we spoke with West Brookfield and Warren about having quarterly meetings, which I think is spectacular, to have both towns come together on a quarterly basis and talk about where we're at, not just in our budget, but how can the schools support the community and how can the community support the school. I think that we have some great ideas and a great vision for where we're headed in the future with a collaboration between the two towns, which throughout this process, and this has been one of the most difficult processes, not just for our communities, our school committee members, Ms. Gonzalez, myself, this has not been easy, but the one thing that we have done throughout this entire process is continue to build relationships with the town of West Brookfield, the town of Warren. I see Mr. Quaboag, who's on the select board, Jim Pereira, obviously Teresa, Henry's here from those departments. And sometimes really challenging times bring people together in a different way. And I can't thank the towns enough for the support that you've given, the communication and collaboration that we've had back and forth throughout this very difficult process. So thank you. I know it's not easy. We feel the difficulty of it as well, but I do want to thank you, and I want to thank the school committee for this. Has been unprecedented times for us. It's been really difficult. So we did have that meeting. We will continue to meet with both towns as we move forward. We'll schedule quarterly meetings with both towns so we can talk about how we can support each other moving forward throughout the process as time goes forward. That's what I have for my update.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bedford. We appreciate the update. In our package, we do have some communications.
I didn't come here for another week to not hear anything. Can you please?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. In our package, we do have communications. One is from email from Representative Smola. We do have the first reading of the bonus policy. Thank you very much for that. We also have 2 sets of minutes that we do need to approve for this evening.
I'll move to accept the minutes. April 27th.
Okay, Mr. Landine has made a motion to approve the minutes from regular minutes from March 23rd. Thank you, Mr. Perry, for seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? And abstentions? Okay, 2 more. Thank you. All right, next up we have executive session, minutes from March 23rd.
So moved.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? And abstentions? Okay. Thank you. All right. Next up, we have the set of minutes for regular session on March 30th.
So moved.
Second. Thank you. All in favor? Opposed? And abstentions? All right. And executive session meetings for March 30th.
So moved.
All in favor? Opposed? And abstentions? All right, thank you very much. Next up, we have
Can you hear me? No. Can you hear me now? During the last week, Mr. Duff and I have been meeting with transportation to go over what that potentially would look like, including bus routes and firming up the prices for what next year will look like. We also met, as Mr. Duff spoke, with Warren and West Brookfield Town administrators and select board members to discuss budget and available funds that both communities have. We have a budget included with a $250,000 reduction that would meet the $100,000 reduction that West Brookfield had asked for. And in that meeting, we discussed those numbers and what that looks like, and made sure that everybody was on the same page. We did go back to the drawing board after last week's meeting to our budget to really understand, what can we do from, a 3-school district, and how can we, meet the budget need for our towns, and also, like I said, have 3 schools. And, what really became apparent was it's not just about cutting expenses, but we have to look at our student population. And as we start cutting, what ends up happening is we have to take school choice into consideration here. Based on the numbers and looking at everything, we attract students to the district, and we estimated about 70% of our students that school choice in would leave, and that would be roughly a $350,000 reduction to our school choice revenue, which means $350,000 now has to come out of our budget. And we also looked at our foundation enrollment and estimated, any major cuts that 20% of our school choice, our students, foundation students, that would probably choice out, which would double our school choice out expense from $700,000 to about $1.4 million. We also lose the ability to regionalize our tuition in other schools if we cut programs at both levels. So at the end of the day, going through that exercise, we still had an above minimum contribution of roughly, I believe it was about $1.5 million when all was said and done. And, the budget that we approved on March 30th was a level service budget. However, the budget that we present today is a level funded budget with a decrease of expenditure about roughly 0.5% over last year's budget.
Thank you, Nikki. All right. At this point, we are going to open up for public comment or questions. If you have any questions about what Nikki has presented, or Mr. Duff or myself, if you can just kindly stand up to the center mic, state your name and your question, please. Yes, sir.
Former music teacher here.
think it's all set.
I guess I have to introduce myself. John Jack. I was the educator in West Brookfield as a principal and educator. I was also chairman of the Warren Building Committee in Warren. So I have a vested interest in both towns and both buildings. Whenever the report on school choice, I think that the school committee better get their somewhat out advertisement, because I think people other towns, as I heard, are having open houses to attract students from Warren and West Brookfield to come to their school. If we're going to lose 40 to 50 students, times whatever the revenue is, and I don't know how much it is per student, we're going to lose a lot of money down the road. Maybe not this year, I know the budget is in dire straits, but I think we got to think about the future of all those children that are going to be going to another school. West Brookfield, kindergarten kids are not going to ride a bus in 45 minutes. They're going to find a place, Brookfield, Brimfield, North Brookfield. When the school is crowded in Warren, those kids are going to find a place. Over the Hilton Hall in Brimfield. I live in Warren, I've invested interest in West Brookfield, I was brought up in West Brookfield. I already hear parents in Warren saying, I'm not going to send kids over to Warren where there's going to be 25 kids in the classroom. Plus, another thing you should think about is that school was only built to hold 500 students and faculty members. When we built that school, we made sure that we had an addition to be put on there if the population went over 500. So these two things you've got to think about in the future. Right now, I know we don't have the money, but you got to think for next year. How am I going to keep these kids in the school district? How am I going to keep Warren Elementary open besides that 500 student population when it gets overcrowded? Now where are those kids going to go? West Brookfield will be closed. Once you close it, you can't reopen it. So you got to put something in West Brookfield to keep that school open. Special ed, something to maintain that school. That if anything else gets overcrowded, which it might be, who knows? But you got to think about these two things. I'm very invested in this both towns. I lived in Warren for 52 years. I was brought up in the first kindergarten class in West Brookfield. I hate to see that school. Those staff members that worked so hard over 34 years that I was there, 35, to bring West Brookfield. We had 100% of kids that were reading. Also in Warren, that staff worked very hard to keep the population and the test scores up in both sides. When you get more numbers in the classroom, think about it for next year. God bless you, because I know you have a heart, and I was there for so many years. But think about the future of both towns. With the population, might not grow, it will be, but you got to keep those students in this town and in West Brookfield. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you very much.
You were my principal. Yeah, he kind of stole my thunder there on Jordan Road, but that's right where I was going with this too. I know me and Mr. Duff have talked a real lot lately. I've been attending as many meetings as possible, but are you guys prepared to lose 50, 100 students? Because I'll tell you right now, I met with North Brookfield Saturday, and I don't know about to jump ship. I don't want to, but my son deserves a chance to school in his own town. I mean, North Brookfield's not it, it's closer. It's a smaller classroom, and I see this failing. I know we don't have the money right now, but I think Warren's going to be in big trouble after this. I don't know what else to say. I mean, you guys, like he said, if you can keep West Brookfield open with a program, maybe next year funding comes in, but you close it, it's gone. And half our community that's walking with them. I know you guys have a tough decision, but take the next few minutes and really think about this. That's all I got. Oh, sorry, John.
Hi, Denise Pomfret from West Brookfield. I'd like to speak on your policy on transparency. I know that there's currently the is the one that responds to emails, but I find it very challenging that I know I have representation on the board, but yet I have to resort to Facebook to speak to people. So I really don't think that's transparency. I'd just like to see your feedback on that.
As a chairperson, I am typically the person to respond to emails, make sure it's a consistent and accurate message being sent out to the population.
But how does that provide me transparency to all the members that are representing me in my town?
It really depends on what the question is. This is a
It
policy
shouldn't
question.
depend on what the question is, because honestly, you're violating my First Amendment right to speak to people that are representing me. I did some research on this, and it's not usually the case. I thank you, Christine, for answering me through Facebook, but as with this big of a decision, I feel we do need transparency, because it just creates that issue of doubt or concern, what's going on behind the scenes. Getting back to Mr. Dijak's point, I really don't think this decision of closing the school is forward thinking. I don't think that basically you're thinking about growth in this district, and that really disappoints me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Marie B. Horder from Westbrookfield. A lot of us members of our new form group have done a lot of research. So after researching the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 71, regarding regional school district agreements, it appears that an amendment to a regional agreement, including amendments that would allow the closure of a school required by the agreement to remain open, must be approved by the member towns, not solely by the school committee. Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 71, Section 114B states as high. Any regional school district agreement may be amended from time to time by a written instrument approved by the vote of the regional school committee and by the local appropriating authorities of the member towns and cities, and thereafter approved by the commissioner. In 2018, former regional superintendent Mr. Castigian publicly acknowledged this requirement in an article published by the Worcester Telegram Gazette regarding possible school closure within the district. The district agreement requires both towns to approve a change in the agreement before a school closure can take place. He further stated, in our regional agreement, it specifies that kids in grade kindergarten through 6th need to be educated in their home communities. Mr. Castigian also said, so what I'm going to propose at the school committee is that they make an amendment to the regional school district agreement. Based on both the Massachusetts General Laws and the district's own prior public statements, it appears that changing the regional agreement to permit the closure of the community school would require approval by both member towns through the local legislative process, not solely a vote by the school committee. At this time, we have seen no evidence that such a vote for both towns have ever occurred. We have also been unable to obtain meeting minutes, town meeting records, or documentation from 2018 showing that the amendment to the regional school agreement was ever formally approved by both communities as required in Massachusetts law. Public statements reported by the Worcester Telegram Gazette indicated that Andrew Swanker tabled the vote. To date, we have found no evidence that that vote was ever revisited or completed, nor any evidence indicating the two towns held town meetings to approve an amendment to the regional school district agreement as required in the Massachusetts law. We have filed public records requests with you, both the school district and DESE. We are waiting and seeking copies of the updated versions of the amendments to the regional school agreement. We are currently awaiting that information, but we just want to make it clear we just think that something just doesn't seem right, that there wasn't a vote. And Mr. Castigian very publicly said that he cannot just go ahead with the school vote without it being a two-town regional decision. So.
No, thank you very much for that excellent question. Again, can't speak to what Mr. Castigian might or might not have said and what was reported on by the Telegram. I can tell you though that Article 10 of our regional agreement does say, and I will quote it directly, no students in any of the elementary grades residing in a member town shall be required to attend a school in another member town except by a 3/4 vote of the committee. But no such vote shall be effective or binding unless 4 of the members of the town residents and pupils are included in the 3/4 votes. So it does require a 3/4 vote of the committee, and 4 of the West Brookfield members have to agree to that. Or if we're closing the Warren School, 4 out of 6 of the Warren members.
Was that an amendment to the 1988 vote on regional
This is adopted May 11th of 1988. That was really fun day. So, yeah, 1988.
That was adopted in 1988?
Yes.
But under the Massachusetts general law, you have to have a two-town meeting in order to make that decision. That's what we're saying from looking up Desi, looking up the Massachusetts general law, that
But that's due to, again, I'm not a lawyer, but what you were saying is to make an amendment. This is what was actually in the regional agreement between the two towns.
So 1998, unless it changed.
Any other questions or comments?
Hi, my name's, that's too close for my voice. My name's Taylor Dochno. Hi, yes. Hi. So I just wanted to say, did Warren approve our level funding? That's the question. So that hasn't been discussed?
Jay, what is the date of the town meeting? June 11th.
I asked if it had been discussed.
Yeah.
And then you pressed out, so I said if it was discussed. I hear when the meeting is, it hasn't been held, but it's been a big topic, so all over. I'm just wondering if it has been discussed.
I can't speak to whether or not the town has discussed a figure or not at the meetings.
From my understanding, the answer to my question is no. That Warren will not approve level funding.
Mr. Duff would like to offer some insights.
We do have a board of selectmen member, Mr. Eichacher, we do have the town manager, we do have another select board member, Mr. Capaco. When we had our meeting on Friday in West Brookfield, discussed how much that they could afford, Warren did agree that they would match that number.
They would match the level funding?
Not level service, level fund. Option 3.
Was there a time when West Brookfield helped Warren with money? I've been looking for that information, and I've heard a lot that about 10 years ago they did. I'd like you to confirm or deny, please.
About 10 years ago, West Brookfield pushed for Warren and paid more.
West Brookfield pushed for Warren to do more, and then what?
Warren wanted to cut it, West Brookfield didn't want to cut it, we didn't cut. That's what happened 10 years ago. For the last 6-7 years, it's always been West Brookfield that's been asked to cut our budget as a former budget chair. I remember sitting in this room saying, "When you fix it, you can help us this year, we'll fix it next year." That's never been fixed. And the last thing I can remember is 10 years ago when Warren was in trouble, West Brookfield it wasn't really that willing to pick up the tab and help Warren out, to be frank and honest with you. That's my memory.
Oh, so you were on the...
I've been on this committee for over 10 years, yes.
Okay, so you were there for that? Because it's really hard to get information sometimes. I feel like I've been asking for certain things for a while, and like Denise said, it's just the answers aren't coming, so I have to stand up here and ask directly like that, because I believe, transparency is usually like for it, but what I was finding was that there was a time when West Brookfield helped Warren, and that was about $30,000, and then that we forgave them for it.
No. I don't remember that ever happening, to be honest.
Are you the longest one that's been on there?
One of them, right? Greg not here, I guess I am. You are? Yes, I am.
All right.
Since early, like probably 2012.
So is that a certain answer? Like that's, you just didn't do that, it didn't happen, or like to your memory?
So can you say the question again? It sounded like you asked if West Brookfield was loaning money to Warren.
Was there a time when West Brookfield helped Warren, and I then said...
I define what you mean by help, that's what I don't know.
Money.
No, but like, pay less, pay more than we're supposed to. Warren had, loaning money to Warren. What's the question? I just need some clarification so I can answer it correctly.
what I've been told was that there was a point when Westerfield talked to Warren, I believe about $30,000 and then forgave them for it. My information is limited, so when I come up and ask a question, it's kind of vague because that's.
I don't think it'd be far-fetched to say that we lowered the budget by $30,000, but I would be definitely positive that there was never a, hey, we'll pay for you and you don't have to pay us back concept. So if anything was done, it would have been a reduction of maybe $30,000.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you. Question. So if you're saying that statement is in the 1988 agreement, Mr. Constigian publicly stated it, it was published and it was the telegram, is that he did not go forward with the two-town meeting and try to close the school because he said he couldn't do it without a two-town meeting. He thought it was going to be an uphill battle in order to make that happen. So now I really want to know, can it happen or can it happen legally? Have you spoken to your school council? Have the town spoken to their town council? The people want answers. We want to make sure if this can be done and we have no say, then that's fine. But if we think we have some say, and I think the families are going to speak up. We have even senior citizens who don't have kids in the school district or never had kids in the school district, and they're desperately searching to try to help and come up with a solution because nobody wants to lose our school in our town.
Once it closes, it never reopens.
Exactly. So that's my question. Mr. Cassidy clearly stated in 2018 that the only way to close the school was to go to a two-town meeting. It had to be approved by both towns in order to make that decision. And then nothing else was said about it other than Andrew Swager saying they tabled the discussion and we can't find anything else on it because none of the minute meetings are publicized. They're not there, so we don't have them to try to follow up on. So I'm questioning whether or not whatever is said in that 1988 agreement is actually valid. That there's more to the agreement under the Massachusetts state law that says you can't do it unless you take it to both towns. That's my question.
It has been reviewed by legal counsel and it is in our purview to do so.
Well, I find it kind of funny that it wasn't under Brett, but now it is. It's just, well, they're saying 1988, it says it, but in 2018, Brett brought it to school committee and talked about closing the school and said that it was going to be an uphill battle and we would have to go to both towns would have to agree to have a town meeting with both towns. They would have to approve the school closing. So that's later than the 1988. So how does that change? And that corresponds to me from what we've researched under the Massachusetts General Law 71. Yeah, that's what we're saying. That there's some laws there that might prevent it from happening.
Thank you.
Henry Bogman, West Brookfield. You mentioned earlier you revisited transportation budget. Did you find anything? Is there any cost savings? Any way to cut anything? And my second question is, when you really want to find an answer to something, you go to the community elder. They're always the smartest. They know. Is there any way, any program, anything we can put in that school so we don't shut it down and never get it back? Is there a program, special ed? Is it put the preschool kids back in? There's something that we can do to maintain that building as a school building. Those are my two questions. Thank you.
So when we spoke with Mr. McCarthy on Friday. We had a higher number estimated for his routes for West Brookfield, so those were a reduction of, I don't know the exact amount, but there was a reduction there.
For the last 16 years, I'm sorry to say that. I go to high school every fall for like 3 or 4 months for the last 16 years. And I swear to God, unless all the kids on the bus are laying down, there's nobody in the bus. So why are we running so many buses if there's nobody in it? Can't we combine some of the routes?
We can, by law, we are required to provide transportation about a mile over, so we have to hold those seats. We have asked our both companies, Lysac and McCarthy, to review the routes to see if there's any routes that we can combine or that we no longer need. So we are in the process of doing that as well.
And one of the benefits of the regional transportation is that we usually get about 80 One of the benefits of regional transportation is we usually get about 85% reimbursement, and that's why, Henry, I couldn't agree with you more. When I see buses pull in and there's like 15 kids on a bus, it breaks my heart. But on that bus, we have to build your routes based upon there being 35 or 40 kids on the bus, because those are the number of students that are eligible to take the transportation. So for the regional reimbursement for transportation, we have to include them in their count to get reimbursed. That's the problem. We did speak, like Nikki said, we did speak with McCarthy on Friday. I've had ongoing conversations with John Isaac. We went out, and I know we talked about this in the past, we went out to bid last year for a 5-year contract, route by route, in a lot. We broke it up 16 different ways. We actually had a state person come in and do the bid process for us. That knows many of the bus companies across the Commonwealth, and we had 2 bids. It was Isaac and McCarthy. So we're trying everything we can to make transportation as affordable as possible. But the regional agreement and the way that regional transportation reimbursement works is that we have to provide transportation even if the kids don't take the bus. And that's the hard part.
Thank you, Mr. Duff. Next.
My name is Rich Ihacker. I'm the select board in Warren, and just to clarify, we have discussed our budget and the school budget at many meetings this year. Our conclusion is we can afford option 3. The level funded budget, we would most likely need a 2.5 either this year or next year. So we would probably run into the same problem as West Brookfield, having a lot of resistance to that. So I think what we've been thinking of is not just this year, but how are we sustaining this year after year. We really have to think 5 years from now, you know, not just this year. If we get through this year, what does next year look like? So 2 questions. What's the trend in school enrollment?
Foundation enrollment has
Yeah.
been declining.
Declining.
Foundation enrollment has been steadily declining. School choice enrollment has steadily been increasing.
Okay, so they offset a little bit.
To some degree, the numbers still are lower even with school choice.
Okay. And is it more in West Brookfield or Warren or about the same?
I would say it's pretty equal across both.
Equal,
both
okay.
elementary buildings.
And then have you looked at classroom, that's a concern we've heard, have you looked at classroom sizes?
We have.
If Warren was the only elementary, and how does that look? Like on an average maybe, or?
We have looked at classroom sizes, and some grade levels, it does increase classroom sizes. The classroom sizes would be anywhere from 21 to 29 students, depending on the grade level.
And is that something, is there room in Warren to maybe divide up that 29
There is.
class to have 2 grade 8, well, not grade 8, 2 grade 4s or something, right?
Yep. So that is all part of.
All right, dude. That's not right.
So right now, the only other
I'm looking
number
up that paperwork. I have all the meetings.
right now, we're looking at potentially doubling rural aid. Our goal would be to keep our class sizes at the elementary school as low as we can. So if we pick up another 100 or another 150,000 in rural aid, that would allow us to add back elementary teachers in order to address class sizes. The other piece that it allows us to do is, if we were to close West Brookfield Elementary School, we would move all our Title I funding to Warren Community Elementary School, which is about $280,000, where we could hire additional interventionists and instructionalists for what we call wind block, which is what I need now. So we're going to be as strategic as we can to provide the level of support that's needed at the elementary level.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Welcome.
Hello, I'm Emery Martino, and
I'm Emma Emerson.
we're both students at Quaboag, and we have a few questions, and we just wanted to voice our opinions as students. And we understand the valid concerns of West Brookfield, but as both Warren citizens and both kids who went to WCS, class sizes.
One of the biggest classes like in the school too. We have like the most kids.
Yeah. We have, like, in our class, even after kids have left to Pathfinder and stuff, around 90 kids in our class, which is a large class size, and we had larger class sizes in elementary school. And we just wanted to say that, like, as kids who were in larger class sizes, we still received the help that we needed with one teacher in the classroom and 20 kids. We, as well as all of my friends back there, are all in AP classes and did receive the education in Warren that allowed for us to become AP students. And we were just wondering, with keeping WBS open, if it decreases the budget, will it jeopardize the education that allowed for us to become AP students? Like, in keeping WBS open, would it decrease the education we receive here as high school students? And would that decrease the potentials for future opportunities rather than the education you receive in elementary? And we were wondering, if it comes that we do need to decrease our budget, how should Mr. Duff depend the value of the classes, and if budgets are cut, should they devalue certain classes over others, and what would that look like for us as students?
That's a great question. So I know Nikki, Ms. Gonzalez spoke a little bit about revenue and about expenses. When we factor in the budget and you look at closing an elementary school, there is a significant reduction in staff at the elementary level. When we did our first round of budget cuts, it was primarily at the high school level, to the tune of about $670,000. On top of that, when we had to go deeper into the budget due to the budgetary constraints within the town of West Brookfield specifically, that wasn't going to get us even close. So that's when we looked at reconfiguring the elementary schools to K-3 and 4 through 6. When we looked at that, our transportation number doubled, which means that the towns have to pay twice as much on top of that, which wasn't an option. The only other option was to close West Brookfield Elementary School. With closing West Brookfield Elementary School, we were able to close the gap to about $500,000 from $2.65 million. After last week's vote by the school committee, the director of finance and I sat down and we said, well, we can't reduce our elementary levels because we need to keep both buildings open. And when you have both buildings open, I was able to reduce one teacher at the elementary building. So all the cuts would have to come from the middle high school. With the middle high school, the only place left to go, and I spoke about this at my first parent information night back in March or the beginning of April, the only place you can go is with sports, theater, arts, music. Sports is $300,000. Music was $171,000. Band and chorus would go. We'd reduce an additional 3 high school teachers, which means you'd have no AP courses. We would reduce the CNA program, which is grant funded. We would reallocate that funding. We would reduce the phlebotomy and EKG class, and we would reallocate that grant funding. We would reduce the EMT class. We would reallocate that grant funding. After looking at that and reallocating, for those of you who have been in the district for a long time, if you go on DESI, you see what happened. And I want to say the year was 2011. And you look what happened to our foundation budget in 2011 when they made all the cuts to our arts and our music programs. There was a mass exodus from the district because people value the arts and music as well as they value the sports. So when you take that into consideration and you look at the number of school choice kids that we have that play sports or involved in the theater program or the arts program or our AP classes or our EMT, fire academy, CNA class, phlebotomy, early childhood education, all the programs that we've worked very hard to grant funding to add to our district to keep kids in district versus going to a Pathfinder or other outside vocational school. We've been able to keep more kids in district. I said that night, the last place that I would go is to music, sports, theater, and any after-school activities that we run now. We looked at those numbers, we looked at the trends from 2011, and we estimated that we probably lose in the neighborhood of 70 school choice kids, which is roughly $350,000. On top of that, if you look at that trend, we estimated we lose around 110 students that are either involved in music, theater, sports, arts, and that was around 700,000. So it's $700,000 in foundation money we take in, plus $350,000 in school choice money that we take in. We would be losing a little over $1 million, which compounds the problem that we're in today. Because if you take $1 million plus the $1.5 million that I would have to cut in order to get there, mathematically, it's almost impossible to do it. I'm not saying that. I said this the night that I met with all the families. Sports, music, arts are as valuable when you talk about 75 kids in our theater program. Without our theater program, I would have difficulty believing that all 75 kids, like yourselves, would be in all the other classes, because I think that's foundational to your growth, as it is with any other program I have. I said I would not use that as a bargaining chip, because I don't believe that's a bargaining chip. I think that is a real educational value that people, you can speak to it more than I can, because you live it and you breathe it, how valuable that's been to your education. I don't use that as a bargaining chip. That is the last resort. When we looked at that as our last resort, because we weren't able to make the reductions that we would have to make at the elementary building, with that being the last resort, it compounds problems because of the number of students we would probably leave that are in the theater program or want to play sports in high school. On top of that, the kids that are coming to our school because of the programs and the excellent education that you receive at Warren Elementary School and the excellent education that you receive at West Brookfield Elementary School. Our teachers are second to none. And I don't care if you're in Warren or if you're in West Brookfield. When you put our teaching staff together, they're going to do what's best for kids, and they're going to give the kids the best opportunity that they have. It doesn't matter where it's at. That's how dedicated our staff are. So when I look at it and I look at the programming that would have to be cut at the high school, I don't even know if it's feasible because of the number of students that would probably leave when you start talking about that. I was warned by town government, I was warned by school committee, I was warned by residents when I said that night, the last place I'm going is to these areas, and everybody clapped because they know how valuable those areas are. What I can say is there's nowhere else that we can get the money. It would be the last thing that I would want to do to any of our students or any of our community members as well. Just as much as it's that difficult to have a conversation about closing an elementary school. That's the last conversation that I can guarantee you anybody up here wants to make that decision. But in order to keep our district intact and meet the financial needs of our communities, there are difficult decisions that need to be made.
I will add, if anyone didn't know, Quaboag is also known as like a heavily arts and theater department school. We're not necessarily known for we're big on sports, but we are known for amazing art students and amazing theater students and all of the fine arts. So if that's cut, that's like a lot of kids leaving. Yeah. There's not many kids who say, hey, I want to go to Quaboag for sports. But there's a lot
Not
of
to
kids.
discredit the sports.
Yeah, no, the sports.
I was a part of sports and actively for many years, and it was a great experience. But oftentimes we have kids whose school choice into Quaboag for the arts department, because the arts department in surrounding areas is not comparable. And we have kids that school choice out of Quaboag to play sports for other teams. That's just something that happens, and we want the people in the audience especially to consider the value of your child's education as well as the opportunities they can receive here, and whether or not it will be jeopardized at the level that matters most for their future, meaning AP courses and things that prepare them for college level education should they choose to go there, and whether or not choosing to keep West Brookfield Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We do have time for 2 more questions.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Caranda. I'm kind of in an odd position because I work in West Warren at Warren Community Elementary. I'm a resident in Westbrook Field. I have 2 daughters who go to Westbrook Elementary. I didn't go to Westbrook Elementary, but a lot of my peers that I grew up with did. I have a lot of friends that work at Westbrook Field, and I have a lot of friends in Warren. I'm stuck because I hear closing, music, arts for, the high school, middle school is a last resort. And I agree, I love music and arts. It's my favorite special to go to with my students. But that's a temporary thing. Closing school should be our last resort. And that, you speak about our teachers, how great they are, and they are phenomenal, but we're going to lose those teachers from Westbrook Field. They're going to go somewhere else, they're not going to get absorbed anymore, and they all can't. And I don't know if I'm speaking maybe out of bounds here, but I'm in those classrooms and more, and I can't imagine a 29 student classroom. I feel like we're already so short-staffed that some days, it's a struggle to reach all those kids. I applaud you, girls, for being in those AP classes, but we have a lot of kids who struggle. A lot. And those numbers are growing annually. Kids with 504s, IEPs, and we are losing paras because it's a cost that, the school as a district has cut. Less paras in the classroom, less help for those teachers. And I see those teachers struggling to get to those kids that need those services. I live it. I have 2 kids of my own that are my students that I am assigned to, and I go beyond them daily because it's needed. So putting 29 kids in a classroom will be chaos. Closing that school should not be our only decision. We're going to lose money on school choice. We're going to lose money because of increased transportation. We have to look 5, 10, 15 years down the road. This isn't going to be a sustainable solution. Closing that school will hurt the district in the long run. We have to come up with something. If cuts need to be made across the board, I feel like we should all, as a double community, tri-community, or more in West Warren, 2 towns, I feel like we need to think about us as a district. Because right now, I feel like West Brookfield is being used as an expendable just to save what they can for the rest of the district. Meanwhile, the children will leave. Parents are not going to bus kids that far. They will not have their kids in a large classroom like that, especially parents of kids with special needs and academic struggles. It's going to be apparent pretty short when they're not getting the grades that they were getting when they were in West Brookfield, getting the, 16-to-1 ratio or 19-to-1 ratio up to 29 is significant. I don't see why we can't figure this out as 3 towns and work together to make this, work. Cuts need to be made. And I hate to see, you guys have, I've gone to your place, they're phenomenal. I have a niece who goes to the middle school, high school. She's an excellent artist, amazing artist. But to save, the high school, middle school, at what cost? I don't think it's fair to West Brookfield residents and students, and I don't see this going well in the near future.
Thank you very much. We certainly have public comment on the meeting this evening, so thank you very much for everyone who shared their thoughts, insights, and comments. All right, move on to unfinished business. I beg your pardon?
Right before she spoke, you said you would have a couple more people.
Yeah, it's already, we've had like 30 minutes of public comment, so
we don't.
and you've already had a chance to go, right?
Is it going to stay Warren Elementary, or are we going to give it a regional name? Sorry.
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Okay. Budget subcommittee, obviously this is the budget. We have update on house numbers was given by...
I think you should stick to your word and just let at least one other person speak. If you won't let me speak because I already spoke for a second, then maybe this...
So,
Christine Tetro, born resident, proud mother of 5 children, 1 Quaboag graduate, a junior, a freshman, a 7th grader, and a very bright 4th grader. Mr. Duff, did you say that if WBES closed, there would be additional funds to roll over to WCES to address additional learning needs for children on educational plans?
What I said was that if WBES closed, we would make Title I targeted school assistance. Right now it's district-wide. When I became superintendent, I moved it to district-wide so that West Brookfield would get a portion of Title I. It's based upon the poverty level within each town. West Brookfield got roughly $30,000. Warren Community Elementary School was in the neighborhood of $115,000, and then Quaboag was in the neighborhood of $140,000. What we would do is we would shift it all back to the elementary building so we can focus on K through 2 early literacy and expand it up into different blocks at the higher grade levels. I think when Amory and Dante and Kenna were there, I think that we had a very strong Title I program when it was school-based, targeted school-based, we were able to use that funding to support those needs.
So that was my question, just to address the person before me who suggested that in closing 1 elementary school and adding in a neglectable number of additional children into the classroom, that it would deny them their unique individual learning needs. Now, I'll also say that I've raised 2 children on 504 and 1 child on the IEP. And one of those children is in this room today and is an AP student, an honors student, and highly active in her community or school. And I will say that she articulated in front of all of you courageously, incredibly well. So I, as a mother, don't know that it's worth treasuring 1 building over it is the value of each individual child's education, from early education up until high school. When they're small, they're not thinking about the future the way they are when they're expanding their awareness and their growth of themselves and their place in this world. And so to have these communities, if you will, that are part of their growth and encourage their involvement in their community and make them recognize their form of their better self to achieve their most academic potential. They are our future. I think it's worth considering the investment in their growth, their education, their learning in early education, middle school, high school, straight up until they enter this world. They are our future. Thank you.
All right, I want to thank everyone again for sharing your thoughts and insights. We do appreciate it very much. We did have a budget meeting on 5/4. It's going to do a couple of just updates. Going to update on our house budget numbers as you know is changing. Thank you, Missy, for your excellent work with the lunch program. We definitely, the food service, we definitely appreciate that. We talked about the possibility of the West Brookfield override, and that's pretty much set up our budget meeting. We then moved into a building subcommittee meeting as well. The town voted to not move forward with the windows project at West Brookfield Elementary School. We did talk about some grant available for energy efficiency at the middle high school. Looking at some upgrades of some food service equipment that will not be paid for out of our budget. It's paid for out of the food service budget. And looking at potentially changing over the phone service to have better service and pay less money. So thank you, Nikki, for continuing to chase that down. Personnel, nothing really to report at this time. And let's see, Travis, policy update.
Policy subcommittee, we talked about the wellness policy. Thank you very much for putting that together. Committee. That is a requirement of DESI in order to be
And then we also continue to review the employee benefits manual. We will, we're trying to get those to sync up. There are several different ones because they're synced up, and we'll talk about that at future meetings.
Awesome, thank you very much. All right, moving on to new business. Talked about wellness policy and the first reading on that, so thank you, Ms. Egan, for working so hard on that. We do appreciate that. Item B is going to be to determine whether or not to close West Brookfield Elementary School.
I make a motion to cease operations at West Brookfield Elementary School and return the building to the town of West Brookfield effective July 1st, 2026, as it will no longer be utilized by the Quaboag Regional School District as an educational facility. In addition, all students currently attending West Brookfield Elementary School, with the exception of the current 6th grade class, will attend Warren Community Elementary School beginning in the 2026-2027 school year.
Second? Any further discussion? Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Angela?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Phil?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Pat? Jay? Garrett? Travis? Megan? Rachel? I'm not. Okay. Opposed? Abstentions? It is passed.
I would pass it that I would like to make a motion to adopt the fiscal 2027 Quaboag Regional School District budget of $22,386,462, consisting of operational expenses of $22,258,264 and capital debt expenses of $128,198. And to fund the proposed budget with an assessment to the town of Warren consisting of $4,820,269 for operational expenses and $128,198 for debt expenses, for a total assessment of $4,948,467. And an assessment to the town of West Brookfield consisting of $5,175,696 for operational expenses and $0 for debt expenses, for a total assessment of $5,175,696. And that change is made in state aid and spending as a result of changes being made to the assessments to each community.
Okay, Mr. Landine seconded. Any other discussion? Yes, Jay.
Is that, so just for clarity, are those numbers the original third option, or is it the additional cuts that West Brookfield's being asked for on top of that?
Those numbers are the additional $100,000 that West Brookfield has asked, which in total is $250,000 reductions in this budget.
These are the numbers, though, that were being supported in our discussions last week with both towns.
Yes.
Thank you, Nikki. Any other further questions? Okay. We'll do another roll call vote since it is hard to hear everybody. Angela? Matt?
Aye.
Bill? Christine? Pat? Jay?
No.
Garrett? Travis? Megan? Rachel? I'm an aye. So we have one opposed.
Okay, additional cuts.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Mr. Duff, you want to discuss the JLMM, Joint Labor Management Meeting?
Sure. So as part of our last contract negotiation, we're going to have quarterly joint labor management meetings with the union and the administration. Our first meeting will be on Wednesday. I wanted to make sure that the committee was aware of that. We will work together with the joint labor management team to talk about the results of the vote tonight and how we can move forward and how we can both work together as the union and as administration to make this transition as smooth as possible.
Thank you very much for your leadership in that, Mr. Duff. All right. That leads us to item number 9.
I'd like to make a motion, pursuant pursuant, to go into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining with the teachers union. If an open meeting may have a determinable effect on the bargaining position of the public body and the chair so declares. Sorry, it looks like I'm using reading glasses, so I apologize. To include the school committee, Mr. Duff, Nikki, and Cindy, sorry. Thanks.
Yeah, we're not going to make Jay say that, yes. Okay, roll call vote. Angela. Matt. Aye. Bill. Christine. Pat. Jay. Garrett. Travis. Megan. Rachel. Aye. Thank you very much for coming out.